Hey guys, Scar here, and this is the behind the scenes video for the UHC promo A Kingdom in Chaos video thing that I made. And yeah, I'm really excited to show it off. I spent so much time working on this. So let's just get right on into it, shall we? So first off, I had to write a script. This is the script I wrote. First I had the idea and I was like, hey, I should create a promo video for this UHC season because it's really amazing and it's really fun. So I did that. And then here is the script. It's pretty hefty, so I color coded all the different lines. All the black lines are fades and just like what's going on in the scene. So you probably saw some of this in the bloopers video if you watched it. If not, then you didn't see it, but this is the script. So it's like fade in, starts with this, cuts in with happy but eerie music, blah blah blah. You move on, and then I put finished when I actually finish the scene after editing them, and then I go through each scene and like you have the lighthouse guard and the stranger. We've got BH and the castle wall guard, then Star again, and then the doctor, and then all this and all this, and I put in like. Music starts to play at this point. After this fade in, this fades to this, and then bam, and then all of the screen actors I had. So there's that. That was step one, was just creating the script. Step two is filming. As you can see, and at the very beginning of the video, this is the folder that I kept all my videos in, where I filmed it all. I should have made like scene 1, scene 2, scene 3, scene 4, and then had each video in each one of those different folders to categorize it a little bit better, but I didn't. I should also have named these better instead of just like villager shaders 2, villagers running and all that stuff. I should have named that better, but I forgot about that and I didn't really think about it, so it's not named as well as it should be. But there's this, and we have like, here's the big fight scene, and then I hunt them down. That's where we go into the caves. We've got the infirmary and the infiltration. This is one of my favorite scenes actually. So I'll play one of these scenes just to let you see how how I directed it, because I wasn't necessarily the actor for all of it. I recorded every scene, but I just want to show you guys like how many takes it took and different things like that. So this is one of the scenes that we recorded, which is probably one of my two favorite scenes. I'll show you my second favorite scene and just how that one turned out. So here's the raw footage of that clip. All right, and don't hold any swords or anything. We're just gonna walk.
Yeah, hold on. I need to get rid of some junk.
It'd be cool if still had the quiver in Minecraft, because it just looked more epic.
Yeah, that would be cool. Alright, we ready?
Alright, yep.
Alright,
let me
let's get in
orientate my...
positions.
Are you
Wait,
ready,
so I don't have
Beach?
to count down anymore.
Wait,
No, you don't. You're flipping the switch.
Yeah.
Alright, 3, 2, 1, go. You guys came up too soon. Okay, so you guys aren't gonna come up until BH gets to the wall, right?
Well, you
Okay.
came up too.
Why is
Okay.
there a horse?
I know, I'm going up. I'm like, so like, the thing is, like, I'm going up to check and make sure.
Whoa.
Because like, I don't want to die. Like, if there are guards there, then they'll kill me and you guys we'll be fine, right? So I'm going up to check, and then BH is gonna come forward out of the shadows and then let everyone else in. So then we recorded that scene again, and I think we recorded like 2 or 3 more times, and it finally turned out well and what I wanted. So when I went through these videos, I had to make sure that like I got it perfect, and I was like, hey, maybe do this instead of this, or do this and then this. So I was the director. I helped organize it all and make the scenes look the way I wanted them. My next favorite scene was this one. Child, hold the torch. 20-second scene, guys. Come on. This dungeon scene right here, where I went through. So I recorded all them, then I flew out to the other end. That's good. They stayed where they were,
Say something else.
and I was in Keep your hand cinematic off the mode. Keyboard. I was in spectator No mode, moving. so I made myself Alright. fly slower by just scrolling down on the mouse wheel, and then I was in cinematic mode, which is just an option you have in Minecraft. And then I just flew through here, and it just looks so pretty. The shader pack I use is also really, really good.
Exact decimal point.
No.
And then I cut it around here somewhere. So those are my 2 favorite scenes. They turned out really, really well. I love how those looked. So after all of the audio was recorded, like these death sounds. This is like child dying or something. I had a few people send me some death sounds. I had Doc send me some death sounds. After all the recording and everything else, I went into the editing. The editing took a very, very, very long time. I had 4 different scenes, right? So we'll go into the first scene. Scene 1. Let's go. So we had a part 1 and a part 2 because it got really big and it kept crashing. So we'll open up scene 1 and I'll show you guys what it looks like. So in scene 1, and all of the scenes throughout the video, there were a lot of little things that I did here and there that I doubt many of you picked up on. So little things, so like in the beginning, in this scene right here, everything was beautiful in the kingdom. So I had it fade in and fade out. This is just a regular shaders. This is a song. The music in the background, that like da 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 song, and then we have a river sound effect, which I just looked on YouTube and found a sound effect for a river. So when I have it fade in and then fade back out as I'm like moving over the water here, as I'm like getting closer and farther away, and then I have birds chirping. You probably did notice that one. However, in this one, there's like a little bit of like wind kind of in the background, like a water drip, very, very faint water drip sound, and you can hear it if you listen really, really hard. And there's a just like a little ambiance noise. Ambiance really, really helps your video, and it's not very noticeable. And then just the regular Minecraft zombie sound effect. You guys heard that one. So there's this one, just running on stone. I actually recorded most of these sounds except for one scene. I literally like got on my single player world and recorded myself running on stone, running on wood, running on wool, whatever was moving, and I just overlaid both of these audios and offset them so it's like da 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 da. So to make it look like and sound like these villagers are running around. Listen to this. Word spread quickly as the plague. So we'll mute this so you guys can hear it better. But just watch the villagers run around. So they're just running around, and then I have door closing sound effects. You don't see any doors closing, actually, but you can imagine that they are closing. And then, so in this part, this is just a simple shader, and then the voice line. I sped up a few parts here. Like, this is, like, super quick, but it's unnoticeable, and it just helps with the timing of everything. So this is part 1. We'll go to part 2 now. So then it transitions into this scene, and in this scene I recorded myself running around on a horse and made that noise and sound effect and added that in. And then we have a calm wind sound effect, which is kind of super chill in the background. I'll actually mute everything so you can hear that if you so desire. So we'll mute this and this and this. So then just kind of listen to the wind.
Come on, Sire.
So it's really faint and right in this little area here, but it is there, and it's like I said, you're not going to notice it, but it adds a little bit to the video itself. And then in this scene, I added in, I actually kept the audio from this scene because it sounded good. And actually, in 1.14.4, they updated the arrow sound effects and the bow sound effects, which is interesting. We recorded most of this in 1.14.3, but they updated it in 1.14.4, which is interesting. And then, but I just left the noise in here. This is us laughing, which actually this video is me laughing, and this video is him laughing, or this audio clip is the two of us laughing, and then I just slapped them on top of each other. And then it moves along. Nothing else really happened. And then it goes into scene 2. So in scene 2, I was able to do this whole thing in one take. So this is a simple just fade in some audio, added in some music. This is some tavern ambiance. I'll actually mute that so you can hear what it sounds like. I think it sounds really, really good. It's super. This one is much more noticeable. You might have noticed this in the video actually. Listen to this. But it's just simple things like there's some glasses hitting each other. There's like a small roar of a crackle. And I thought that was just really nice and added to the scene a lot. And then here we go. There's some more audio. Then there's the calm wind sound effect. I use this again. I also use an ocean sound effect, which you probably noticed. That one's kind of loud. But in this one, when we get to the death scenes, these are pretty interesting. I think at least of how I was able to do this. So let's see. I didn't have any death visible in these first few scenes. In the end when we're fighting, I did show that, but in these scenes I didn't have the deaths visible because it wouldn't look as good. So I left it up to the viewer's imagination of what happens. And actually when he lands, this is just two landing on stone sound effects, or maybe it's wood. I don't remember what's the noise. Let's listen. So I used wood, which I should have, because he lands like on that block, not the brick, and it's just two wood sound effects, like two steps that I recorded just back to back, like bam bam, because that's what it would sound like in my opinion if you jump down from somewhere high. So we fade out, and this is just a simple so this voice line up here, that's child grunting, which if you saw the bloopers, you saw how many takes that took. And then in this one, I just got a stab sound effect from YouTube, which is the which is like a sword sound effect, and I added a little bit more in future ones. But then this body hitting ground sound effect, that's actually, I think, I looked it up on YouTube. I looked up different sound effects to use, and I think that's actually like a large bag hitting the ground, which is interesting because you don't think about how sound effects are made. And I'll show you a cooler one, I think in this scene. Yeah, this one. So in this scene, I love, this scene was really, I'm really proud of this scene. So it's this noise. I'll show you them individually. So it's this noise. That simple one, okay. And then it's this noise. So that little bit right there, it was actually a video of a guy doing the sound effect, and he was like squishing a wet paper towel. And then there was this death noise that I had, which was actually Doc. He did this one for me. So thank you, Doc, for recording your death sounds for us. So then all of them together sound like this. And then I kick him, or the character kicks the guy and falls into the water. And you can visualize that like really well, and I didn't have to film that. So you can use audio to make the viewer think something that isn't actually happening, so you don't have to worry about filming it, because that would have been really hard to film on camera. Like if I would have filmed the whole scene and try and get someone to fall, and then it just wouldn't look as good. But if I just put a black screen and put some audio, you can imagine that, and it still gets the point across, and it still looks really good in my opinion. So this scene, this scene 3 was super difficult to do. As you can see, all this stuff. I'll show you what all that is in a second. So this one, pretty simple. Just, it took a little bit of the acting was what made this scene really good. So it's just a regular, this right here is just like a cricket. The nighttime sound effect was like cicadas. Listen to this. Actually, let's mute this so you can hear the nighttime sounds. And then, so you kind of hear the crickets in the background and stuff like that. These are just audio of running, and I have it fade in. So like this one right here, as you can see, it's fading in like this. It's fading in as BH is getting closer and closer to the gate. And then this part, I'd actually just used him flicking the lever right here, and it falling down. I didn't add in that sound effect. I could have. I had the sound effect in my list, but I didn't add that one in. So then each one of these, this one is fading out because he's running away from the camera, and then these are all starting when you see them on the screen, and then they fade out for each individual person. So then here, simple fade, just chilling, talking about how they're gonna kill me. Then in this scene, this one was pretty difficult to do, and it didn't turn out as well as I wanted it to, but I still think it looks pretty good. So he's walking, and then he lands right here. Come on. He lands right here, and you hear the da-dun. Very subtle, because there's other stuff happening, other people walking around, but you hear the da-da from him when he lands. And then over here, he lands, da-da, and then so what I did here is I cropped out, I put like the same video on top of itself, but I cropped this part out and made him run, and I did an animation of this part of the video moving, so it gets bigger and follows him across the screen, and I just sped it up because I jumped down way too slow. I was actually acting as this character, and I walked walked after him way too slow. It looks kind of funny because he's like running really fast. That's not what it looks like in Minecraft, but I think it turned out okay. Not my favorite scene, but I think it turned out okay. And then here's a death noise right here. Just the and this is the same stab noise I used earlier in the video when the guy got stabbed by the on the lighthouse when the guard got stabbed. Then this one is actually just a bag hitting the floor. It's duh. So it's like just two. So these are actually the same audio files, but this one is just quieter. Just you hear the duh. As it's like, because it's like you think of it as, or the way, at least the way I envisioned this was his knees hitting the ground and then like the rest of him hitting the ground. But the knees, because what I envisioned was the guy running up behind him and like cutting his throat. So then he falls over and his knees hit the ground and then his chest hits the ground. But the knees are going to be louder because it's like it has more force, whereas the chest, it's just kind of like falling into it. And then this part, I used the same knife sound effects that I did when the guy got hit off the edge into the water, and I used a generic male grunting noise. And then this is a much more harder because this was supposed to be this guy inside this building. It's supposed to kind of like echo a little bit more and sound more like he's in a building as opposed to outside in the courtyard. So then we transition. This is the guard. Pretty simple. Added in some moving sounds, added in some nighttime sounds. What's going on? These are the ding ding dings. I added in those noises and made them a little bit louder because it was hard to hear in the video. And then ladder climbing sound effect. Move on. And that's it with that line, with this scene, with this part one of the scene. So in part two of the scene, which I should have split the scenes a little bit differently because there's a lot in scene 3. This scene had so many filming issues with it, and it took us, one scene took us so long to do because this is a full cut. Meek coming in and then all the way through to him yelling, "Sire, watch out," to everything else was all one cut. All one scene, which is really hard to film, and if we messed up, we had to redo the whole thing, and it was just very, very time consuming. So I ended up making do with what I had. So he runs up, he's like, "Sire, watch out." And you've got the shield blocking sound effect somewhere through here. And then the arrow shooting sound effect, all that stuff. I'm going, ugh. And actually, in the background right here, this audio is me kind of breathing heavily. So I'm just like, because like I'm kind of out of breath, like I just got shot. And I think it adds a little bit to it. Adds a little bit to the video, but it's something you might not notice. And then, because at the very end, my line right here, I start with kind of a. So listen to this.
Sir, are you okay?
Yes, quick. Right there. Yes, quick. So it's like I don't know. I feel like it was a good segue. So these are pretty simple, just arrow shooting sound effects. However, I didn't. So this scene is edited. Is edited from the original footage. So what I had to do was there's a very quick fade. Let me find it. I hope you didn't notice it. That would make me sad. But it was kind of like one of the pinnacle parts of the video, actually. So I got shot. Where did I get shot? And tell me if you guys picked up on this or not. So in the close-ups, my character doesn't have a scar. I don't know if you noticed that. And then I get shot. He runs up. I get shot. And then where's this fade? There it is, right there. Do you see that? Quick little fade right there. Very hard to catch, but needed. So what happened is we had the original scene, and then I was like, okay, freeze. So Star, and this is Jonah. Jonah's acting as this guy. I was like, okay, you guys need to freeze. So then I'm going to log off, log back in, and change skins. However, I accidentally moved my mouse, so my head tilted, so it didn't look completely perfect, which made me a little sad, but it's fine. So But what I had to do is Jonah froze with his bow pulled back. And I didn't want it to start with like a fade in here and him shooting the arrow, because enough time had passed that this arrow had despawned. So it'd be like the arrow is up there and then this fade happens and the arrow moves, which would look weird. So I didn't want that. So what I did was I took this scene, chopped out this little portion and froze it. So it was this big scene and then a tiny little box right here of Jonah's character just kind of sitting there. And then I unfroze that scene a little ways later, so he isn't actually pulling his bow back. But throughout this whole scene, he had his bow pulled back, and I was like, all right, 3, 2, 1, and shoot. And as the fade occurred, he shot the bow, and it just kind of looked bad. People probably wouldn't have noticed it, but I noticed it. So that took me a little bit to edit through and to fix. So keep going. This scene, what is this scene? I don't remember what's next. This scene, okay, so this is just, I had some nighttime sounds, he's like running up, yada yada yada, he's following him in, and then this next part I am super proud of. I love how this turned out. Love. So I'm going, not this part. Is it this? Wait, hold up. Is it this part? This part. So I'm going to mute everything and I'm going to let you listen to this audio just as is. So listen to this. So it has an echo to it because they're inside, and I feel like it would echo. You can hear it more in this next scene. So listen to it now. Super subtle, but it sounds so good. And the way I did that is I just took the audio file that I have, just regular Minecraft running on whatever sound, and I stuck it in Audacity, this program right here. I stuck it in Audacity, and then I went to Effect, and I added a reverb to it, which adds a little bit of an echo, and it sounds really good, I think. And I was super happy with how that turned out, but no one noticed, and that kind of made me sad. Obviously no one's gonna notice, but it was something in there that I thought was really cool that needed a little bit of addition. And then here's just the regular infirmary scene. That's all of scene 3. In scene 4, this is part 1 of scene 4. It's also echoing in here when we come in, we run down, and we get ready to fight. This scene was a pain, because I was not about to add in each individual like sound of blades hitting each other and swords clashing and stuff. So I used the original Minecraft sounds, but what I did was I took the audio from this video, put it in Audacity, and had Audacity remove voice. So there's a few parts in here where you can hear like a little bit of like a kind of like almost static. So listen to this. That part right there, that's someone yelling, like really loudly, but Audacity was able to successfully remove the vocals. So this is what you hear with the music. You barely even heard it because the music was able to be loud enough, as well as the Minecraft, as well as like the slashing noises, was loud enough that you didn't hear that little scraggly part. We move on. This part just looks really cool with the music. I love the music. The music made this scene so good because it's super like ominous, and it just sounds so good, and it looks really pretty as well. This part I wasn't super happy with necessarily because we just had like appeared out of nowhere, but I could have filmed this, not like looking back on it, I could have filmed it where we ran down and then it showed us, but you know, whatever. That's not how I ended up doing it. Whoops. So we move on. This scene was interesting. So this scene actually, Rachel was playing this character, and she lagged right there. As she lagged right in between these two parts and kind of like jumped forward. So then she didn't realize she was that close, so she backed up. But when she did that, I was able to add in the door sound effect, like just banging on a door. By the way, that took me forever to find. I don't know why, but that sound effect was really tough. And then she kind of backs up, and then the door opens, and we go into the team, and it's like, yeah, we're gonna be great. So then actually this homie's yelling thing, I brought everyone into an individual call, and I had them yell something. I told them to yell something rude about me. So they all yelled something rude about me, and then I put all those together and offset them in different times to make it sound really good.
Stab him in his off with their heads.
So each one of these people yelled something, and I offset them to make it flow well. I think it sounds pretty good, at least. And then this one is the same thing. Pretty simple. Also, there was another part of this video that I wanted to add in that kind of just gave me more of like almost history of my character. I was originally going to make his mask, like take my mask, and I was going to emphasize, I was going to like turn around, and I was going to have a mask now and be like, oh, that's how he got his mask, because BH shot him in the eye. He has that scar now, and he's covering it up with the mask. But I couldn't, for the life of me, find a good sound effect for like something being tied, or like cloth like that. No, I couldn't find a sound effect for that. So I didn't end up using that, but it's fine. This scene turned out pretty well, actually. So, and then part 4, the last scene. Part 4. Scene 4, part 2. That's what I'm gonna say. So in this scene, I did a fade in the post in between each of the different scenes. But I come in, and then I fly in, and then you hear they put on their armor, and I have them put on armor a few times, and then I go to this, they put their armor on a few times, and then we go to this. By the way, this scene looks so pretty at night. I love how the sky looks in this scene. Look how pretty that is. So what I do is I wait and I watch for them to put on the armor, and then I add the sound effect, and then I add another one after the fact, but I make it much quieter. So as you can see, this one is at 100%, whereas this one is like way down here at like 20% even, or something like that. So you hear the first one, and then the second one's much quieter. So listen to this. But with the music, this is what you hear. It's very faint in the background, but I mean, I think it sounds pretty good. I did that for all 5 of these. And then the big fight, part 1, which is actually a pain to film. This wasn't our final take. This was one of the first takes we did, actually. And we were supposed to like run in. We were supposed to have more zombies and villagers, but they would not cooperate. They just wouldn't stay anywhere near us, and it was so annoying. So we run in at each other, and I meant to like have them clash and be like zoomed in on them, like right here, but I didn't end up working that way. And then the fade. I'm a UHC Austin's premieres. And then I actually really liked this part. This part was just really fun. It's super just simple, just sliding text across the screen. I really like this scene because it showed off like who all helped me. It wasn't just me filming this. Like I had all these screen actors, I had all these voice actors. I just thought that was really, really interesting to show off all these different people that helped me make this video. And I think it turned out really, really well. I'm really proud of it. So if you haven't seen this, seen the original, go back and watch that, or maybe watch it again now that you know all the stuff that went into the actual editing and filming process. Maybe you'll see it in a different light now. So yeah, hope you guys enjoyed this behind the scenes video. It was a little bit longer than I thought it'd be, actually, but that's okay. Like I said, hope you guys enjoyed, and we'll see you all in another video.